may have had 2 homes.
Oh, did that go crazy on the internet?
It went crazy. People thought, oh, he wasn't rich. How could he afford 2 homes?
Well, that's not... Okay.
Right. No, people in my area, like itinerant farm workers out in the Coachella Valley, they have a home in Mexico, and they have a home in the Coachella Valley, and they might even have one up in Bakersfield. They're family homes. They spend time there working in the field, and they come back down in the season. So there was a lot of good discussion that Jimmy posited something that we can't prove, but was reasonable.
That's perfectly reasonable.
It was
and plausible.
reasonable.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing that I got on the takeaway. What about you, Edgar?
I think the one thing that really stood out to me was how cordial they were. A lot of times you get
that was true. That was very good.
The debates that get very heated, but both of them were very kind to each other. And another thing that I learned about Jimmy is how strong of a high fiver he is. So
that high five, I thought he had hurt someone. Poor Bart on that high five.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing? What I loved about Jimmy is he introduced lots of science fiction into the topic.
Star Trek came up.
And before that, the TARDIS, the time machine, was in his slides, his PowerPoint slides.
Right.
But who else used common stories and analogies to convey deep truths?
Right.
Our Lord Jesus. So Jimmy was very Christ-like last night.
Yeah, he was, and I just thought the whole thing was wonderful. Now, because I had to moderate. I've never moderated a debate before.
You were fabulous.
That's what I thank you. I don't even have a 10 on me. I usually owe you a 10 for that kind of thing, but nervous all week about it. And I would talk to Carlo about it. Carlo would be like, "How you doing on the debate prep?" And I'd be like, so nervous. I never moderated a debate before. And he goes, "Yeah, you should be." No, he didn't say that. He was very encouraging. All I was worried about was I'm going to fail at the timekeeping. I'm not going to get the timekeeping right.
You were great. You were right on.
Was I, Edgar?
Sorry, I lost track of time there.
There was one section where I completely lost track of time. And I thought, this is the thing I was worried about all week, and I'm doing it right in front of the world.
I know, but like Jimmy said, don't pay attention to those little things.
Yeah, right.
As long as the big things go okay, we're good.
I will say that Cy has the most difficult role because he has to sit in front of hundreds of people and not have to do anything.
Not do anything. Yeah. It is weird. It's very weird. Like try to act natural. I'm just listening to a debate, and you're. Why am I on the stage? So, yeah, it was really good. I hope people will watch it. You can go over to YouTube and just go to the Catholic Answers page. Go to YouTube, put in the words Catholic Answers. It'll take you to the Catholic Answers page, and then you'll see this debate. Thousands and thousands of people have watched it. Do you have any idea what the number is?
I think last I checked, it was about 13 or 14,000 views.
13 or 14,000 people.
It was rich with common sense and logic. It was really beautiful in that regard. It really was.
One thing that I did notice about the tactics on both sides, it's I feel as though Dr. Ehrman was focusing a lot of his understanding of Scripture from the evangelical perspective. So when he came into to debate with a Catholic, a lot of the things that he was saying don't necessarily apply to the Catholic understanding of Scripture, and just the approach of it. Because what Jimmy was doing in the beginning was saying he actually agrees with us on all these points. We actually don't disagree too much. It's a lot of the nuances where we disagree.
Yeah, I thought so too. That it seemed like Dr. Ehrman was kind of had a concept of the Gospels that comes from a kind of fundamentalism that that says every word is exactly how everything exactly happened, whereas a Catholic has what I would call, and that's, a fundamentalist might say an unfaithful view, but a Catholic would say a more nuanced view, which is to say it's all true, it's all communicated in that idiom, true, but you have to understand the idiom of ancient biography and the way the ancient writers write in order to get how that is. So there was I think Dr. Ehrman wanted to debate whether the Sermon on the Mount, that Matthew collected
little
sayings of Jesus and
right.
to make one long sermon, and Jimmy was like, "Yeah, that's probably what he did." That's not a Catholic doesn't have a problem with that,
right? Because
we understand that that's not lying. That's the way you did things when you wrote a biography in those days. You'd have the section where you'd collect up the sayings, and he collects up the moral sayings, and then he collects up the prophetic sayings of Jesus, and. But Dr. Ehrman seemed to think that was that was Jimmy admitting that the Gospels are unreliable, but I didn't think so. So I take your point.
It's like creation. It's like we're allowed to imagine how God made creation, happen.
Yeah.
And there's no one rigid way. There's the broad sense that we understand. You know what? And here's the bottom line. What you're saying is, at some level, we have to always acknowledge the mind-blowing mystery of God and the mystery of truth, and that we can know a lot, but
Right.
we're not going to know every single thing.
Right.
And we got to be okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. That comes from that thing that you were mentioning before about Joseph. Why does one gospel say Joseph's home is in Bethlehem, and another says that Joseph's home is in Nazareth? And Jimmy's saying, basically the family home is in Bethlehem, but Joseph has gone to live with Mary in Nazareth. So that's two homes. Well, we don't have proof that that's what it was. It's just that's a plausible explanation. Why would you treat that as a problem when it's not really a problem? It's not a. So
Details are so
yeah.
important, but we can get very lost in them.
Yeah.
So there's that tension.
What do you think of Edgar, our new guy?
I love him. He's
Oh, do you?
handsome. He's smart.
You can say that again. Keep
Yeah,
continue,
yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And you know what?
That's so funny because I don't find you handsome at all.
Shut up.
Sorry, I
And you know
don't.
what? He's lasted this long at Catholic Answers. He has to be a very strong man of virtue.
Well, I'm glad you allowed him to come in and talk about this because I've been trying to find an opportunity to introduce him to everybody. We've had him; he's been here for months now, and he's fit right. Don't you think, Darren? He's just like fit right in. He's like a wonderful piece of the Catholic Answers family now, and I salute you, sir.
Thank you, good
Now
sir.
return to your post, sir.
Will do. All right. I'll go back to my
Will you?
callers.
All right. I know. When I give a lot of books away, he's like, "Oh, you're making me work now."
Speaking of,
Wait, speaking of books, will you
Yeah.
sign your brand new book that I just got?
Oh, come on.
St. Irenaeus and the Goblet of Fire.
Come
Will
on,
you sign
Rose.
it for me, please?
Nobody knows what you're talking about. The people don't even know the joke.
No, I was surprised when I came in here.
That's not right.
What?
I'm going to a break now. I'm so upset. I'm going to a break and we'll start the show.
I don't get this.
All right, I'll sign it. Right back. We're with Rose Sweet. We're going to talk about the marriage bond today with Rose Sweet. Your calls are welcome. 888-318-7884.
Catch Catholic Answers live anytime at Catholic.com.
Underwriting for Catholic Answers Live is provided by Real Estate for Life. Real Estate for Life connects home buyers and sellers to real estate agents while supporting pro-life organizations. On the web at realestateforlife.org.
Are you a coffee drinker? If so, you can now enjoy a coffee roasted to perfection by the Carmelite monks of Wyoming. Delicious Mystic Monk coffee roasted by monks in a hidden cloistered monastery and is available in over 25 varieties. All Mystic Monk works of perfection and labors of love. For more information on how to purchase Mystic Monk coffee, visit mysticmonkcoffee.com. That's mysticmonkcoffee.com.
How are you listening to EWTN Radio right now? Have you ever wished you could listen on a local radio station? Maybe our Lord is speaking to your heart to help make that happen. Don't let a lack of experience hold you back. Find out how you can help start a Catholic radio station where you live. Powered by the truth of the Church and EWTN's dynamic radio programming. Email Steve at this address, radio@EWTN.com.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. I wanted to spend a little time talking about the debate last night because it was a big deal, and we really promoted him. I want to let you know how it went. Jimmy did a fantastic job. I really did think Jimmy carried the day, but Dr. Bart Ehrman was very gracious. He was a wonderful guest and a good sport too, because he polled the room at one point and said, "How many of you are Catholic?" And it was almost all Catholics. I really thought more that non-Catholics were going to come, but we pretty much filled the room with Catholics. So that's, for the position that he was arguing, that the Gospels are not reliable, that's a tough room. But I thought he was gracious, and I'm really, really glad we did it. And Jimmy won. But it's not about who wins or who loses.
No,
but Jimmy won.
Jimmy did an excellent job.
Yeah.
As usual.
Okay, so here's the thing I want to talk with you about today, if we could move now to that. The marriage bond, Rose. We talk about annulments, we talk about counseling, we talk about contraceptives and natural family planning, but we don't talk enough about what is the marriage bond. What makes a marriage bond?
It's a really beautiful part of our church teaching that we also get from Scripture and tradition. We didn't just, pull this out of our hat. It's really beautiful. So I wanted to ask you if, when you met Missy,
Yes.
your wife,
Right.
how long had you known her before you started dating?
Well, we started dating when we were 25,
Yeah.
and we met in 4th grade.
Oh,
So-
okay, this is perfect. Okay, so you and Missy actually had a friendship bond as young as 4th grade.
Well, no, she thought I was a nerd for the entire time until we were.
Well, could you just fake it and
Oh yeah,
go with my
we had a lovely
example
friendship
here?
bond. Yes. No,
Okay.
no, there's no question. I'm sorry, I was teasing around, but
Okay,
yes, we did.
and did you go to the same school?
We did. We went to high school together.
Okay, so you had a high school bond, and you had a social bond, and a community bond, and being of the same age. So you already, before you got married, certain bonds were forming between you. Bonds being ties that pull and keep two people together. And we know if you moved and never saw her again, maybe that bond would be broken.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But as you progressed and you asked her out on a date, there was a romantic bond. And then I'm sure as soon as you kissed her for the first time, there was a chemistry bond.
I don't want to talk about this.
Oh,
You're
this
making
is
me
important.
very uncomfortable.
No, you should
All right.
love this stuff.
Okay, well,
this is
I mean-
beautiful. This is what it is to be human.
I didn't say I don't love it. I said I don't want to talk about
Okay, I'm not going to go into details. Don't
Okay.
worry.
it. All right, go ahead.
So now you're just forming bond upon bond upon bond. Now, we know that you were chaste and you got married the right way, but let's say you were a couple who didn't. And you ended up having sex together outside marriage. Now you have a very powerful sexual bond, more chemical bonds, and with that comes deeper emotional bonds,
Yes.
soul ties, they call it sometimes.
Right.
And let's say you moved in together and now you share a lease and now you have legal bonds and you pay utilities and buy groceries. And if she became pregnant outside of wedlock, you would have the first unbreakable bond throughout all eternity.
That's eternity.
That's
yeah.
a parental bond. You will forever be the parents of that new human life.
Right.
Look at all these long and various bonds that have been building between you and bringing you together and tying you and so you have these social bonds, legal bonds, sexual bond, parental bond. Do you have a marriage bond?
No.
No.
So what? I see what you're saying. So now we're left with the question: What is the marriage bond then? 'Cause
This is-
you can have all those other things, and you
Yes.
still don't have a marriage bond.
Yes, and this is why some people get confused. It's just a piece of paper, and that's not. That you may look married and feel married and be living as married together, but not be married. So this is why the church in her wisdom is like hanging on to this truth for dear life, and we're going to talk about it today. What makes the marriage bond? It's a unique bond between people that's like no other human bond. You don't marry your children, you don't marry your dad, you don't marry grandma. Marriage is unique to a man and a woman who make a covenant with each other. An unbreakable bond. Only death can break it. Unbreakable bond. The marriage bond is unbreakable.
Okay, so unbreakable is, first of all, that's terrifying to people these days. I know it's terrifying. I mean, I guess it's always been somewhat terrifying to people, but I really do think we've done something to the younger folks that they are petrified of this.
Well, and the older folks are petrified too. I
Yeah.
mean, I work with a lot of older single people or even married people or divorced, and that permanence is terrifying because there's no escape hatch. That's the way they think.
There's no escape hatch, yeah.
That's not true. When things get bad and difficult or painful, we have remedies, and the church allows us to do certain things to take care of ourselves. But let's talk about who we look to find out what a marriage bond is.
Okay, and that would be...
You guess. Who shows us everything that we need to know about everything?
Oh, well, all right, now I know. Jesus.
Okay, so we look to Christ, the bridegroom, right?
Yes.
And the way he loves his bride.
Right.
And from Scripture we get, and I've said this before, and you've probably heard this before, he makes a covenant with us, his bride, that is free, full, faithful, and fruitful. Free, nobody makes him lay his life down for us. Nobody makes him give himself totally to us. It's free. He has no agenda, no
Right.
pressure from his mother.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. He freely can say yes or no to this bond with his bride. And when he makes this covenant and he consents to this kind of union with her, it's full. Nothing is held back. Nothing held back. No prenups. No conditions. He gives his very
Yeah,
life.
That's right.
on the
that's
cross.
right. Yeah, that's a wonderful way to think about it. No prenups or conditions.
That's right.
Utterly surrendered
So
to
it's
us.
free and it's full and it is faithful. And we tend to think that fidelity is just sexual fidelity. Oh, yeah, I got married. I have to be faithful to my husband or my wife. But it's also emotional fidelity.
Oh, yes, right.
I can't tell you how many people I've worked with, some women, but mostly men, who have a primary bond with their mothers.
Oh, and that's unfaithful to the wife.
And they attempt
Yeah.
marriage with some young gal, and now there's 3 in the marriage, and for years, if there's ever anything between the 2 women, mother will come first.
Yeah.
So that's what we call an impediment. He either didn't intend to completely give himself and be faithful to his wife, or he intended, but he wasn't able to.
Mm-hmm.
So our Lord, his union with us and the bond that comes from that covenant is free, full, faithful, and fruitful, life-giving, open, receptive to life, alive. This is the kind of love we all want. I mean, call in right now if you do not want to be married to somebody who loves you freely, fully, faithfully, and fruitfully.
Right.
That's what we want. And that's what we have. And that's where the church says, when 2 people get to the altar, okay, here's the big thing. When does the bond come into being?
Yeah, that's the thing is because as I'm hearing you talking about it, I'm like, well, but I like friendships are free. They're not,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And they have these other aspects to some degree. You know, you have to be
Yep.
faithful to your friends. You don't be like talking behind their back or, you know, stealing
As Jimmy
from them.
would say, I agree with you.
Yeah, but I always know I'm in trouble when Jimmy agrees with me. I always know something else is coming. So, do you see what I'm saying? You said that you were going to tell me how the marriage bond is different from every other bond that we make,
Okay.
every other relationship bond.
I am not a biologist, but I know that I am a woman and I know that you are a man.
That is
Okay.
actually very advanced thinking these days.
I know.
A lot of people can't do that math, but yes.
Okay, so it's very clear, it's always been clear to us that the man's body is ordered toward life-giving seed, and the woman's body is ordered to receiving, to open and receive that and embrace it and allow that life to grow in her. And let me just stop for the moment. Today, we as Catholics are celebrating the Feast of the Annunciation,
Yes, right.
where God's spokesperson in the angel Gabriel came to Mary and said, Mary, do you consent freely and fully and faithfully and fruitfully to let our Lord, to let the Holy Spirit overshadow you and do with you what he will? And she said, I do.
Yeah.
I do. These were marital, spousal words. And at that moment, at her free, full, faithful, fruitful consent, that marriage bond came into being. That spousal bond with the Holy Spirit came into being. This is exciting. This is when the marriage bond happens, at the altar, when the man and the woman exchange consent. And this is why it's important that we get the vows right.
And that and all of those words then mean something more in this relationship than especially fruitful, because I mean there's many, many ways in which a marriage is fruitful.
Yes.
A marriage is a service to the whole world.
Yes.
But the primary way a marriage is fruitful is that it presents children to the world.
Well,
and to salvation.
And I would say at some times the primary way is.
Okay.
But most the fruitful is the love and the divine life and love, the life and love that comes from that union that's in line
Okay.
with God's life and love.
Yeah.
Because what if the babies don't come?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So here we are at the moment of consent. So we presume, here's the other thing, we presume that that guy and that gal know exactly what they're doing when they say, I do. And at that moment, the marriage bond, bing, it's there. We
Yeah.
can't see it, but the church presumes it's there, and now it's unbreakable.
Because Christ, I mean, like you use Christ as the model, and since Christ is the model, of the marital union, and his bond with us is unbreakable. There's nothing. I mean, that St. Paul teaches that clearly. There's nothing that can come between me and the Savior. Nothing that can break that bond.
That's a scary thing and a beautiful thing, because really, if it is damaged, it's we who walk away. It's we who violate the bond. It's we who reject the love and the union that he calls us into. So yes, earthly and human marriage is an icon and kind of a doorway into that eternal marriage that all of us are called into. This is amazing stuff. Now let me ask you a question. You're at the church. You said your I do's.
Yep.
Now you have an unbreakable marriage bond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
I'm going to Disneyland. Oh, wait, sorry.
So you go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
You get drunk, you pass out, and
That's not how I go to Disneyland.
Okay, you do not consummate the marriage. Are you still married?
Yes, I think so. I
Why? Do you have a marriage bond?
oh, you're confusing me, Rose, because I think that the sign of the sacrament is the physical union of the.
It's consent. The
Okay.
marriage bond comes into being at the moment of consent.
So I was kind of right. I said I think
Okay,
I do.
no,
I
no,
mean,
I know, I
you
know.
were scaring me that I was getting it wrong.
No, but you know what? We don't think about these things, and that's what, thank you for the opportunity to talk about it today. So you are married. You have
Yeah.
your presumed valid marriage bond is in existence and unites you. But your consent has been ratified, but not yet consummated.
Yeah.
So consummation in a lot of different ways is said to strengthen the marriage bond.
Mm-hmm.
But the marriage bond is already there. Amazing, isn't it?
Yes, as long as everybody intended to do what was. Oh,
okay.
sorry.
No, this is good that you said that. Okay, but there's another thing, not just intention. There's two things that are necessary for a valid marriage bond.
Yeah. You already said the other one. I'm not going to forget it. Consent.
No.
Oh.
Consent makes the bond.
Okay. So there's two things that are necessary
For consent.
Mm-hmm.
I have to really.
Oh, two things that are necessary for consent.
For consent, okay.
One of them is intent. I have to intend to do the thing.
I agree. I understand. Yes.
Right.
I'm all in.
Yes.
But the other one is capacity.
You have to be able.
You have to be able to live it out. You can't just want it really badly. And
No.
one of the sad examples I use sometimes in my classes is the one of Mary Kay Letourneau, if you remember, was a 20-something high school teacher who had sex with a 6th grade boy. He was very mature for his age. They fell in love, and she went to jail. Even the state, he said he loved her and he wanted to marry her, but he was 13. Even the state, this is not even religious, the state would not issue him a marriage license because they understand he might be physically capable, but he's not mentally, emotionally, and otherwise capable of bearing the demands of married life.
We're talking about the marriage bond with Rose Sweet today. If you have questions about the Catholic understanding of the marriage bond, you are very welcome to call 888-318-7884. If the question is personal about your particular situation, that's fine too. 888-318-7884.
Have you enrolled in the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics? Let me ask you a more important question. Do you believe as a Catholic that you have an obligation to share the Catholic faith? In fact, the Church has answered this question, and the answer is that all confirmed Catholics are obliged to share the faith. It's actually in canon law. Catholic Answers is here to help you fulfill that obligation. Our School of Apologetics courses will equip you to help all the people you come in contact with understand what the Church teaches and why. A great place to start is with all the Catholics in your life. Learn the art of apologetics from the best of the best and start sharing the gospel today. Visit schoolofapologetics.com. That's schoolofapologetics.com. Here's a question. Is it really possible to be friends with someone who died 2,000 years ago? Maybe the problem is that we've grown way too comfortable with the story of Jesus. Nice man, right? Taught us to love one another, said not to judge people. We celebrate his birthday every year. It's time to put away this small, safe version of Jesus, says Cy Kellett. Nobody that bland could have transformed the world. In A Teacher of Strange Things, Cy presents Jesus Christ undiluted by sentiment, with all his radical words and deeds uncensored. Do you know someone, your son or daughter perhaps, or maybe your mom or dad, who needs the friendship of Jesus Christ? Do you? Order your copy of A Teacher of Strange Things by visiting shop.catholic.com today or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
Did you know you can access Catholic Answers Live right from your phone or other mobile device? Download the Catholic Answers Live app today. The Catholic Answers Live app, available now on iOS and Android.
You decide what we talk about.
On our monthly unscripted show.
Tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on most of these EWTN stations.
Now back to Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. What a great Friday we got. We got Rose Sweet with us this hour. Next hour, we'll do the game show. We got two wonderful contestants. We got Carlo as our secret celebrity guest, and we are going to have fun. We're talking about the marriage bond. And, you know, we Rose, you're here, and we talk about annulments. We talk about counseling. We talk about all these other aspects of marriage or of single life or whatnot. And as a matter of fact, this is the first time I think we've ever just gotten down to brass tacks and said, what is the marriage bond and what makes the marriage bond? If you understand the Catholic understanding of the marriage bond, you get a clear sense of why the church says no to plural marriages. The church says no to temporary marriages. The church says no to same-sex marriages. And it all has to do with the fact that if Christ is the image of the bridegroom and the church is the image of the bride, then we got to imitate that. And Jesus doesn't have two brides, and Jesus doesn't make a temporary commitment, and Jesus doesn't marry another groom.
Exactly.
So when we understand the marriage bond, we kind of understand, when we understand the marriage bond in its relation to Christ and his church, we get a sense of what it is for us.
And this is nothing deep and mysterious and ridiculous. Everybody, even kids, would understand this. The objections come...
Especially kids, frankly.
Yes.
The more we send them to school these days, the wackier they come back. But yeah, especially kids would understand this.
I know. It's just... The objection comes from the human heart not wanting to be trapped, not wanting to be limited or restricted. Well, I'm a man and I have needs and I love my wife. I really do love my wife. But my dad has a mistress and my uncle does. And, I love and care for my wife. I love her, but I have needs.
I hope that this is a performance you're doing.
No,
Good.
I
Okay,
hear this
good.
a lot from people. And
Right,
it's
yeah,
sad.
yeah.
And they're sincere in their pleading. Doesn't this make sense? And I say, no, this is not marriage. Yes, you do have a relationship. You have relationships with these people, but they are not marriage. That's the difference. And what we want is, in our culture, we want all the goods of marriage, but we don't want the responsibilities of marriage. We want all the rights, but not the responsibilities.
Yeah.
And that's what kids do. That's just
Oh,
childish.
yeah, sure.
It's childish.
Right. Yeah. We've lost faith in it, too. I don't know if we lost faith in ourselves or we lost faith in people say, I don't believe in the institution of marriage. Well, what does that even mean? I don't believe in this. I don't believe in being faithful. I don't believe in being fruitful. I don't believe in being freely given to another person.
Well, no, when people say institution, that's the cold concrete steel building, right, with bars on the windows, and it's a cold institution, and there's a woman there with a big ruler and a man with a whip, and it's like it's over-exaggerated, over-emotional childishness.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of being Catholic, is that everything that we profess to be true is common sense and can be understood on basic childlike level.
Here's the problem. Another problem, though. You give yourself freely and fully to someone for life. You intend to be faithful and fruitful in that relationship. That person is not going to be that great sometimes. There might even be whole years where that person is not, maybe even decades where that person is not that great.
Okay, so you said it. What we're doing is we're entering into and living out that one beautiful marriage of Christ and the church. Now imagine Christ as the perfect bridegroom. Do you think we ever disappoint him, let him down, pull away from him, call him names?
Knock it off, Rose. Yeah,
No.
right, exactly.
Okay, so we,
Yeah.
and even God the Father said this in the Old Testament through the prophets, we are an unfaithful bride.
Yeah, that's right.
He doesn't dump
Yeah.
us, but
Yeah.
he does say this. If you go down that path in our marriage, the door is always open to you, but you have to leave that garbage at the door. That's the difference. That I want you in my embrace, but not when you bring your sin. Your sin cannot come into our relationship.
Yeah, because that's the unfaithfulness.
That's
The
our infidelity.
yeah.
And that's him being faithful to us, because if he allows us, this is like permissive parenting. If
Yeah.
we allow somebody we love to bring all their sinful garbage into the relationship, we're not loving them.
No, not at all.
No, we're allowing them to go down and to be diseased and disordered and,
Right.
and maybe
You could be patient, but you can't be tolerant in the sense of
Mm-hmm. exactly.
this is how it's going to be.
That's the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Patient. You don't tolerate. God doesn't. God is totally intolerant
Of sin. Yes, he is totally intolerant of sin. And people have a hard time with that because they don't realize what sin is. But if you say sin is being unfaithful to the most faithful, most generous, kindest, most
Loving.
beautiful, loving spouse, that's what every single sin is, then you kind of get it. We got a bunch of calls. You want to?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Jack in Cincinnati, Ohio, listening on Sacred Heart Radio. Go ahead with your question for Rose Sweet.
Yeah, well, it's not a question. Is that, I met my wife a long time ago. I was in my 50s, and she was in her 50s. She's 3 years older. But we had a good time when we first got married. But the thing with it is that we willed each other to each other. And when you will yourself to that person, that is the main person in your human life, not above God. God's number one. And if you make him number one, then he helps you with whatever you're going to be married and stay married with. Now, yeah, we had a good time, but now in our life, she's got all kinds of problems. She's got dementia real bad. She's got bad legs and everything else. And right now she's down in the nursing home. I go down every day. I bring her communion every day. I'm with her every day. And when I'm at home with her, when she was at home, I do all the cooking. I do all the cleaning. I dress her. I wash her. I do everything. Why? Because I willed myself to her with love. We are not two people, but one. What I do for her, I do for me. What she does for herself, she does for me. And that's the way a marriage should be. That's the way my father and my mother was. They were that way, and they showed their love. They weren't just separate. They showed us in front of the kids, all five of us kids. They would roll back the rug and dance and sing in front of us. They would have a good time like that. And that's the way my parents were. And that's the way I am. So to find love and stay that way, first you got to know that person before you meet them. Know everything about them. Just like you would want to know about Jesus Christ. What color is his eyes? What color is his skin? What kind of colors does he like? What kind of food do they like to eat? What places do they like to go? And that way you find out what they are and what you want to deal with.
Jack, I think you're doing Rose's job for her. And
I couldn't. None of us could say that more beautifully,
No.
Jack. You have just given a voice to authentic Christ-like love, and God bless you, Jack. And your wife is a very blessed woman. I wish all marriages could be like that.
Well, I wish they were too.
Jack, I'm sure that many people are grateful to hear your call, but I'm sure many would like to pray for your wife. If you'd like to tell us her first name, we'd be happy to add her to our prayers.
Her name's Carmeline.
Carmeline, Jack and Carmeline.
She's Italian.
Well, you did. So you won the lottery. All right. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, you're welcome.
God bless you,
God
Jack.
bless you both, and God loves you both.
Well,
Thank
thank
you,
you, Jack. Well, let's take, we got Pablo in California. Let's go to Pablo. I
Okay.
don't feel like taking another break. I'm enjoying the. If we get more callers like Jack, I want to do that.
Oh, that
Pablo,
was beautiful.
right here in California, listening on the Catholic Answers app. Pablo, thanks for downloading the app onto your phone. Go ahead with your question for Rose Sweet.
Yeah, hello. How y'all doing?
Very well, thank
Hi,
you.
Pablo.
All right, praise be to God. But I have a question. So me and my spouse, we're civilly married, and we're in the process of getting our marriage convalidated, I think is the word.
Yes.
And me and her, like, we just came back from retreat, and it was beautiful and all this. But from this to this day, we still have like disagreements on certain teachings, like the priest. Our priest told us, like, you know what, if you guys want to like take communion from now on, as it's live as brother and sisters, and she kind of like doesn't see it that way because she gets also like this, I guess, feedback from her coworker. They are Protestants, and they're like, oh, that's just really strict. And I feel like all this just goes into like her head, where it's like, oh, how come these other churches aren't doing this and we are? And like I try to reason with her, but I believe also what I'm trying to get at. How can I express why we believe such things?
Okay, wonderful, Pablo. Thank you.
Okay, this is easy and tough at the same time because Pablo, I just want to lead with this. Okay, pretend you and I are sitting at the feet of Jesus right now, and he's trying to explain to us what the truths of, heaven and earth and marriage and all that. We have the benefit of seeing his face and his expressions and listening to his words and being in his presence. Do you realize that people, even who heard the truth from the lips of Jesus, doubted him and even walked away from him, and they challenged him? So we don't have the power on our own to convince the people we love of the truth of our faith. We do not have that power on our own. God has the power to come into their lives and help them get over the hurdle, and we can certainly ask for his help. At the same time, God will not even impose himself on your civil wife. She has that terrible and beautiful gift of free will that we all have. So your challenge is right now to pull apart, as your priest advised, because you are not married in the eyes of the church, and live as brother and sister, and you figure out, is this a woman I want to spend the rest of my life with? Are we on the same page on the most important things that matter to me? And you certainly can love this woman for the rest of your life, but marriage to somebody has higher demands than just a friendship or a loving relationship. Marriage is different, and you're at a nice crossroads where you can make the determination, do I want to enter into a marriage with this person freely, fully, faithfully, and fruitfully? And is she capable, and is she fully intending to enter into that kind of union with me? It sounds like on the surface of it, you have some big hurdles. Doesn't mean they can't be overcome. And I'm not trying to advertise, but you email me, rose@rosesweet.com, if you want a little free, helpful sounding board.
Pablo, what do you think?
Yeah, that sounds, I guess, about what other people tell me too. But yeah, I feel like it's for us. We weren't raised as Catholics, so all this is new to us. But
oh, okay.
But
I feel like.
Here's what I would do. If you wanted to engage in some kind of dialogue with her about the faith, don't try to convince her of the truth. Ask her what she doesn't like. Just lead with that. What is it you don't like? What is it you think that you understand that doesn't sit right with you and you don't like? Those are the issues that are in the way for her. So I'd go right to those.
Pablo, we're right up against the break, so we're going to take a break. But I'd like to send you a copy of Trent Horn's book, Why We're Catholic. If you want to hang on the line, I'll send it to you. It's just, it might be another opportunity, the book, to discuss things, look at the whys of the various Catholic beliefs. And you're always welcome to call here, Pablo, but we have to do this break. The number is 888-318-7884, 888-318-7884. We're talking about the marriage bond, how Catholics understand the marriage bond, with Rose Sweet, who's always here. You know, you're always here talking to us, not always about marriage, but we always get on. Yeah, right. Yeah. So if you got a question about the Catholic understanding of marriage, about the marriage bond, your situation, you're welcome to call 888-318-7884.
This is Archbishop Paul Coakley of the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City, and you're listening to Catholic Answers Live.
Do you love praying for people? Have you ever wanted to use your gift of prayer to share Jesus with others and build up the body of Christ? Start a public prayer station with St. Paul Street Evangelization. Listen to people's needs, pray with them, or invite them to meet you at church. St. Paul Street Evangelization can help you get started. Find out how at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
Imagine like Caravaggio was gonna do a painting of David Anders. You're sitting there getting ready to do this painting, and he takes his time, you're sitting there, you're like really excited about how it's gonna look, and then turns it around and it looks like Tom Price. Like, how would you feel about that?
That's a big improvement. Wow.
Called to Communion with Dr. David Anders. Tonight, 11 Eastern, on EWTN Radio.
Welcome back. Catholic Answers Live. It almost feels too mild to say that marriage is worth it.
Yeah.
The rewards of marriage. I mean, I know that they're not always obvious, the rewards of marriage.
The goods of marriage are obvious.
Yeah.
You're right. The goods are obvious and desirable. The responsibilities are shunned, and the rewards are overlooked and underestimated. I agree.
But the blessings are enormous. And so we're discussing the marriage bond, the uniqueness of the marriage bond. That's really where you started, was with the uniqueness of the marriage bond.
As compared to all other beautiful, intimate, freeful, faithful, fruitful bonds with other human persons. And there are many.
Yeah.
But this is unique.
Off the air. You're welcome to call, by the way, 888-318-7884 if you'd like to talk with Rose, 888-318-7884. And you know what? I want to make a special invitation, because if you're, we mentioned about how young folks, I said young folks, you said all folks, there's a kind of terror of marriage right now. Or if you find yourself in that boat and you'd like to discuss it with Rose, we'd love to talk with you. But anyone's welcome to call, but if you find yourself in that boat, we would love to have that conversation. 888-318-7884. Esther couldn't stay on the line. She's listening to EWTN on Channel 130, Sirius XM satellite radio in Dallas, Texas. And she asked this, Rose, can you speak on the church's official teaching on people who want to get married but can't have kids because of age?
Beautiful question. So let's look at the basic principle of marriage. Marriage requires a man and a woman who are physically capable of the marital act, because that is a sign and participation that consummates the marriage bond. Okay, so a man and a woman who are physically capable. That's why the church officially teaches that if a man is perpetually and antecedently, that means before marriage and forever and ever, impotent, he's not capable of marriage, although he may really intend it. Even men who, and you know this, who enter into seminary to become priests, if they struggle with that, they are not allowed to become priests. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but this is Christ the bridegroom again. This is another layer of that truth of the requirement and the demands. Demand sounds so harsh, but it is a demand. It's a requirement of marriage, of the marriage bond. So when two people get together and they have not intentionally thwarted the marital act. They haven't blocked it, done damage to it, violated it, or themselves. If it's just by nature they're old and they can't conceive, there's no sin in that. And the primary goal of the marital act is not children.
Rose is smirking at me slightly because I made that mistake earlier.
Okay,
That-
well, we were talking about it because words
I
matter.
worded things wrongly before, yeah.
Okay, but that's why we have to stop and think. Okay, if you're not fertile for the majority of the month, then and if that's true that we only have sex to have babies, then you should never be having sex until you know you can have babies, and that's not true. The marital act is intended to create union and bonding between the couple, and the fruit of that could be a beautiful child or not. Naturally, if the bodies are past the time of childbearing, you can still engage in the marital act and not violate it, and no children will come. But yeah, so that's the long way around. The teaching is that if you want to get married and you're old, go for it.
Thanks, Esther. I hope that was good news for you. I hope you weren't trying to get out of something. But thanks very much for the call and the question.
We just blew it if she was.
Yeah, I know. She was, oh, man. No, in Indiana, watching on YouTube. If this is our old friend No, I am going to be shocked. Hello.
Yes, it is.
No, how are you? This is our very good friend,
really
No.
Well, hi, Rose. It's so nice to hear from you.
I don't know if you know No, but
No,
she
but
born
I
and
know-
raised in Nigeria. She once was someone
I
sent.
met you at the conference, Rose.
I know. You know what? You need to come to California again this year to the conference at the end of September.
That's exactly right.
Okey-doke.
But she never got the book that we sent her, and so she moved to the United States and became a student here. That's not exactly the true story, but it's roughly the outlines of the story.
Well, I moved there to get the book. That's
Is that why?
I'm so sorry.
But you studied theology, is that right? No.
I was going to, haven't yet. I studied engineering, but I've been working. I studied theology personally, not academically.
I gotcha. All right. So, what brought you out of retirement as a Catholic Answers caller? What's your question for Rose?
Well, it's kind of the reason I'm calling again today. I got married.
Hey,
Yay,
congratulations. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you. I went through school and then all of 2020 and just had to work on a whole bunch of things, and then I'm just starting to come out of the cave right now. I've been a hermit for a couple of years. So.
Oh, you've been in your honeymoon suite.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rest of the world has too for the last 2 years. No.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so it's providential that this is the topic today. So as Sally mentioned, I'm an African, and there are very many different African cultures and lots of different things that I learned while I was planning to get married, because all my life I was just raised Catholic, and that was my primary identity, and those were the rules I lived by.
Yeah.
And then I found some of the requirements, I want to say, of marriage, or some of the ways people viewed marriage were not completely in accordance with the Catholic Church, either morally or sometimes just practically, like on a legalistic sense. So, for example, in Nigeria, people would typically have like a Nigerian cultural wedding, and that's done before your church wedding. But then I found out in the U.S. that in Catholic Church outside of Nigeria, if you do any kind of marriage, even like a civil ceremony before your church wedding, then you can't get married in the church. You just get convalidated. So there's a whole bunch of different views and opinions and things like, so I'm not in a different religious group, but like I'm in a different culture that has very different beliefs and things like that.
Yeah.
So how do we reconcile some of those differences? Because, the things that, like, for example, a baptized Catholic who has, demanding obligations. Now, obviously, it's to the Catholic Church, but, like, your priority should be to the Catholic Church. But, like, helping people who are maybe not Catholic or who don't have the same kind of opinion to understand, or like to be gracious with them, so it doesn't seem like you're you know.
Oh, I think I know exactly what you're getting at.
Trying to disagree with somebody.
Right, and more, the Catholic view of marriage is out of step.
Exactly.
All right, Rose?
No, I have found myself in this position too. You're so on fire and you're so convicted and you're so excited about what the church really teaches. And when you're in conversation with somebody and they don't get it or they don't want to get it, it's the natural response to gather them in and say, but listen, and to try to convince them. At the same time, I had to learn discernment if the person was truly open to what I had to offer, or if I was the one being called at that moment to give them that information, or what I was there in that situation. These are nuanced things that we have to discern. Even Jesus, this is where I always look when I'm scratching my head. Okay, what did Jesus do? What did Jesus do? Jesus didn't try to convince everybody about the truth. He allowed them to question him. He engaged them. He gave them the answers. He asked them questions. But if they were shut down or argumentative, he let them walk away. Remember the story of the rich young ruler? So
Yeah.
Jesus didn't chase after and say, "Hey, you have a different cultural view than I do, and let me give you one more example, or let me give you a pamphlet from Catholic Answers, to explain things." I know. Jesus looked at him with love, Scripture says, and he let him go. He looked at, and that's, I think, you're going to have to ask the Holy Spirit and just keep practicing to discern, is this a time where I really share what I know about the truth of the Catholic view on marriage, or do I wait and see if that person is open or not? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. It's one of those things where it's you may know what to do, but in the moment, having to make that judgment.
That's always the problem. Yeah. No. The music's playing. We got to go, but I want to send you a copy of my book because you got married since we last spoke, but I wrote a book. So I know it's a lesser accomplishment, but I'd like you to have it. It's called A Teacher of Strange Things. And if you hang on the line, Edgar's going to get your information and we'll send it to you. We got to say goodbye to Rose Sweet. Rose, thank you again.
I can't believe the hour is over.
Rolled fast, didn't it?
I know.
Yeah, it's because we had Edgar in here for the first segment.
I know.
It took up some of your time.
Okay, good.
Carla Broussard coming up next. He's our secret guest for the Catholic Answers game show. We're going to finish the week off with a great version of the game show with two very fine contestants. We'll do that right after this on Catholic Answers Live. Oh, yeah. A little bit of game show music there because it's the Catholic Answers game show. I'm Cy Kellett, your game show host. And it's time to play. And you could play along at home. Gather the kids, wake up Grandma and Grandpa, get a piece of paper, pencil, gather around the kitchen table, play in your car, play wherever you are. Got two wonderful contestants that we're going to meet in just a minute. But first, I want to introduce our secret guest. I want to reveal who the secret guest is. It's Carlo. Hi, Carlo Broussard.
Hey, Cy, how are you, buddy?
I am very well. Thank you for being here with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And last I saw you, well, not quite last night because I saw you a little bit today, but you were at the debate last night. You had a good time?
I had a great time.
Wasn't it really cool?
It was awesome. It was a great exchange between Jimmy Akin, Dr. Bart Ehrman, and they both did a great job presenting their arguments, counter-arguments, rebuttals, cross-examination. It was all great. The spirit was phenomenal. So the spirit of charity with which they had toward one another, they were very gentlemanly and cordial and respectful. They had some fun, a little friendly bantering back and forth, you know. I was very, I don't know, Dr. Ehrman kind of won me over initially when he said, how many of you are Catholic?
Yeah.
Like almost everybody raises their hands. And how many of you are here to see me get creamed? Everybody raises their hands. That was great.
That was
man.
good. It was a very good opening.
He won the crowd over there.
And
So it was great.
But
man.
I was very proud of the crowd too. Everybody was so polite. But
Indeed they were.
I had just as good a time as you had, but I had a totally different experience of it. All that you just mentioned figured almost not at all in the pleasure that I had, because there was free cookies, there was cheese and crackers, there was wine and beer, all kinds of drinks. That's what made it a great night for me.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say to that,
just
man,
look-
because that wasn't a great thing for me because I didn't partake of any of it. And, but all the
that's what you
intellectual
get for being perfect.
intoxication,
intellectual intoxication.
Yeah,
well, no, I
nice.
wasn't drinking because I had to moderate. All right, I'm not going to give out the number, or if I do give out the number, I'm doing so accidentally because it's the game show today. We have two guests on the line with. Excuse me, I always want to say guests, but you're the guest. These are the contestants.
There you go.
We have two contestants on the line with us. I'm very anxious to meet them, and then we will get going with the game show. First up is Angel. Angel, are you with us?
I am here.
Well, welcome to the Catholic Answers game show. Where are you, and what's interesting about you?
I'm in Kentucky, and in the next month I have a couple of anniversaries. I will have been married for 20 years to my husband, and I will have been a Catholic for 5 years.
Oh, wow. And, Angel, congratulations. That's wonderful. You're from Kentucky.
Yes.
The hill country or the grass country?
Toward the northern part, near Louisville, but I'm in a small town called LaGrange, so...
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Such a beautiful state. Well, I'm glad you're here with us. You don't sound nervous at all.
Good.
Okay. Well, you just say good. Okay, very good. Let's meet our other contestant, Anne. Anne, you there with us?
Yes.
Well, welcome, Anne. Where are you, and what's interesting about you?
I'm in Livermore, California. I'm 81 years old, and last year, on my 80th birthday, I retired from 42 years in healthcare.
Wow.
Wait a second. I know Anne.
You do?
I do. I know you, don't I, Anne?
You sure do.
Well, I think it was Ann who said
We're
before we
best
went on the
buds.
air, I know you, Cy.
Oh, that's so. Oh, I didn't realize, Anne. I didn't get the whole thing. Yeah, I know Anne because she has been a wonderful supporter and friend of Catholic Answers for a long time, and delightful at all of our events. We haven't seen you in a while, and I saw your daughter not too long ago, but I haven't seen you for a while.
Right, I didn't go to that one.
Yeah, but you're well?
Fine.
Well, very good. I mean, because you're such a good friend of mine, of the apostolates and all that, I will make sure that Angel loses, okay?
No.
All right. It's just a joke. I will get emails from people saying, that's not right. All right,
Yeah, I
Ann.
know who sends emails.
Oh, we've talked about your emails on the air. Did you know?
I know, it was so funny.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sticking up for me. All right, I'm not going to give out the number, but we're ready to play. Let me go through the directions. So if you're playing along at home, you will have an opportunity to make use of that pen, pencil, or paper that you have there. It goes this way. There are two initial rounds and then a final judgment. Final judgment is reserved for the person who wins the first 2 rounds. Final judgment is 7 true or false questions, and we'll get to that when we get to it. The first 2 rounds are multiple choice questions. In round 1, each contestant will get 3 multiple choice questions. In round 2, again, 3 multiple choice questions to each. Now, there are lifelines that you can use if you get stuck. And here are the lifelines. First of all, you can ask Carlo to give you the 50-50. So if there's A, B, C, he'll take one away, and then you'll have just 2 answers. One will be correct and one won't. So you at least got a 50-50. Or you can ask Carlo to give you the correct answer. Everybody okay with the rules?
Yes. Sure.
All right. Have I left anything out?
Well, they said they've listened to the show before, so...
Does anybody think I've left anything out?
I know what it is.
What is it, Ann?
It is, he will give it in Pig Latin.
Whatever correct answer that Carlo gives you, he will have to give it in Pig Latin. And an interesting fact about Carlo, he's not very good at Pig Latin. So it's all...
And
I'm sorry.
Have confirmed that. Everyone I talk to, they say, I love it when you do the Pig Latin because you're so bad at it.
All right, so each lifeline you can only use once. If you use it in round 1, it's gone. It won't come back in round 2. If you save them both for round 2, you got them both for round 2. So I believe that does it for the instructions. I think everyone's ready to play. Angel, you are contestant number 1, so are you ready for your first question?
Yes.
All right. Allow me to ask the question twice just so those who are playing at home get a chance to get their answer down. The question is this. Christians believe that the souls of the faithful departed, A, await the final resurrection so that they can enter heaven. B, can enter heaven before the final resurrection if they have the perfect holiness necessary for heaven. Or C, can enter heaven, but they must go through purgatory. Once again, Christians believe that the souls of the faithful departed, A, await the final resurrection so that they can enter heaven. B, can enter heaven before the final resurrection if they have the perfect holiness necessary for heaven. Or C, can enter heaven, but they must go through purgatory.
B.
Woohoo!
Nice. No hesitation.
No hesitation whatsoever. Good job. Yeah, that's right. Actually, in 1336, Pope Benedict XII in Benedictus Deus infallibly declared that the idea that the souls of Christians who die in friendship with Christ have to await for the final resurrection to go into heaven, Benedict XII infallibly declared that to be false and affirmed the positive that souls can enter into heaven, into the beatific vision, not just heaven in a sort of a blissful state, but the actual beatific vision before the final resurrection. So that was actually a great question. I got to commend you on this one. This was a great question to include. And I must say, all of the questions are really good this time.
Oh, thank you. I thought it was a little bit tricky, but Angel, you didn't find it tricky at all, did you?
Well, you read it twice, so that gave me some time.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, and it's also, too, important to point out that letter C there, the third option, where you put they must go through purgatory.
I wasn't sure if that was going to trip somebody up.
That's false, because the church teaches it's possible for us to immediately go into heaven when we die and not have to go to purgatory and bypass purgatory. Catechism teaches that in paragraph 1472.
And obviously, Angel is a wise and intelligent person, so it's going to be hard to fix this so that you get the win. But let's give it a try, all right?
I'm kind of scared.
All right, another heaven question. Anne, in heaven, A, we will see God with our physical, though resurrected, eyes. B, we will see God face to face spiritually and intellectually. Or C, we will see God only in the sense that we will see the risen Jesus. Once again, and in heaven, A, we will see God with our physical, though resurrected eyes. B, we will see God face to face spiritually and intellectually. Or C, we will see God only in the sense that we will see the risen Jesus.
I will say B.
Wow.
Great job.
No
Ann.
trouble.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Catechism in paragraph 1028, when it's talking about the beatific vision, defines the beatific vision as man's immediate contemplation. And this is actually pulling from what we just referenced earlier, Pope Benedict XII's Benedictus Deus in 1336, defining infallibly the nature of the beatific vision being an immediate, uncovered, clear, and open vision of God's being, of the divine essence, as we say, right? So that's what this beatific vision is, seeing God face to face spiritually and intellectually, sort of this knowledge that we're going to have, direct knowledge that we're going to have of God's essence.
That is a pretty good reward that we
Amen. And
that
from
you can't
that,
earn it.
from that knowledge of his essence flows that beatitude, right? That's Vision is a metaphor for the intellectual knowledge that we will have of God.
Yeah.
Beatitude refers to the happiness that's going to flow from that knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's a definitive, I don't think that's a question coming up, it's a definitive happiness. That is, we can't lose it. It's forever.
Hey, make a note of that. I can use that on the next quiz.
There you go.
I already got my first question. For the next quiz, I got to write it. Hey, we're late for the first break, so we're going to take the first break, but we are all tied up. It's neck and neck, Catholic Answers Game Show. Find out who wins after this.
Miss a show? Make sure to catch up by downloading the podcast, available online at Catholic.com.
The Aquinas Writing Advantage program is part of Homeschool Connections' set of online courses for your Catholic homeschool. Homeschool Connections' website is homeschoolconnections.com.
Underwriting for Catholic Answers Live is provided by Real Estate for Life. Real Estate for Life connects homebuyers and sellers to real estate agents while supporting pro-life organizations. On the web at realestateforlife.org.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
I'm continually amazed and humbled at the way God can work through me to help so many people. Although I have no idea what the callers' questions will be that day, I trust that the Holy Spirit can use my education and experience to guide, challenge, or comfort those who call.
Mast Appeal with Colleen Kelly Mast. Saturday morning, 9 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Welcome back. Catholic Answers Live. It's the game show. I'm Cy Kellett, your game show host. Our super secret guest, Carla Broussard. And don't talk about it. And our contestants, Angel and Ann, tied. We're in the midst of the first round, and we are tied. It's time for question number 2. Angel, question number 2 for you. Remember, I'm going to say it twice, and then that'll let the people at home have a chance to play. The Church accepts natural family planning because, A, despite everything, it is actually an effective means of contraception. B, it doesn't involve a willful frustration of the marital act's goal of making babies. Or C, it's not very effective. Once again, Angel, the Church accepts natural family planning because, A, despite everything, it is actually an effective means of contraception. B, it doesn't involve a willful frustration of the marital act's goal of making babies. Or C, it is not very effective.
It's B.
Very
wow,
good. Excellent.
So totally certain on that one.
Amen to that. Yeah, she must have read Humanae Vitae from 1968, Pope St. Paul VI.
It's funny, though, because a lot of people will think that it is a means of contraception. And you didn't fall for that at all, Angel.
No, she did not.
No, I did know that part. So
yeah,
and C just made me laugh.
And it's not and it's not contraception precisely because it does not involve, as you put here, Cy, in the right answer, it doesn't involve that willful frustration of the marital act's goal of bringing about children. And the reason why we say goal is because the act itself is naturally ordered to that end or that goal. And even though the goal is not actually achieved, say, because during the infertile time or for whatever other reason that's non-willful, not due to one's will, the order is still there, right? And so with the natural family planning, engaging in the conjugal act, it's still consistent with its design, and thus it's morally licit.
And by the way, that last one, I'm glad you laughed at it, Angel, because it's not true that it's not very effective. Many people have been able to conceive children through the use of natural family planning, and many people have been able to space children through the use of natural family planning. All right, so number 2 for you, Anne. When the church grants an annulment, she declares that A, a sacramental marriage has been dissolved, B, no valid marriage took place, or C, one or both of the spouses has failed in a grave moral matter. And once again, when the church grants an annulment, she declares that A, a sacramental marriage has been dissolved, B, no valid marriage took place, or C, one or both of the spouses has failed in a grave moral matter.
B.
Man, they are just rocking it today. No hesitancy whatsoever.
But I noticed that all 4 questions, the answer was B, too. So maybe I should...
Just keep it up.
I'm not going to continue that. Or maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. You don't know. But nice job. No hesitation. You know what an annulment is, huh?
I do.
Yeah. The Catechism makes it clear, in paragraph 1629, when it's talking about the nullity of a marriage, it says, quote, i.e., that the marriage never existed, close quote. So for our listeners, they can check it out.
So how do you dissolve a sacramental marriage?
Only given what God has revealed to us, the death of one of the spouses.
All right, question number 3 of round 1.
God dissolves it, not us. But
Question number 3, Angel. Chastity is A, the virtue of sexual purity lived according to one's state in life. B, just abstaining from sex. Or C, the commitment a priest makes not to marry. Once again, Angel, chastity is A, the virtue of sexual purity lived according to one's state in life. B, just abstaining from sex. Or C, the commitment a priest makes not to marry.
A.
Very good. That's right. It is a virtue, right?
Yeah.
According to one's state in life. The Catechism mentions this in paragraph 2349. People should cultivate chastity in the way that's suited to their state of life. And then it goes on to say, married people, conjugal chastity. Others, non-married, chastity in continence. So for those who are not married, continence, abstaining from the conjugal act, right? Sexual intercourse, that falls under the virtue of chastity for them. But when you get married, doesn't mean you stop practicing chastity, right? Because the virtue involves rightly ordering the sexual powers and engaging in the sexual act according to reason and according to God's design, which is for marriage and according to its proper goals or ends, procreation and unitive love.
All right, question number 3 for Anne. This will conclude round 1. Anne, orthodox means A, faithful student, B, traditional practice, or C, right opinion. Once again, orthodox...
I will. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I got to say it twice. Sorry, I paused where I shouldn't have. Orthodox means A, faithful student, B, traditional practice, or C, right opinion.
I would say C.
Man, she
Holy
got
smokes.
it.
I thought do we have really good contestants, or did I write easy questions? Which is it?
No,
because
you
I
got
didn't
some
think
really
they
good
were that
contestants.
easy.
I agree. These questions are not super easy. So good job on that one. Yeah, so it comes from 2 Greek words. Arthos means straight or right, and doxa or doxa meaning opinion. So it's right opinion or straight opinion. In other words, straight thinking, right?
Yeah.
And relative to us as Christians, it would be the right opinion according to God's divine revelation.
Okay, so Angel and Ann, you each have 2 lifelines left. You haven't even hinted that you might use one. So you still have the 50-50 if you want to ask Carlo to cut it down to a 50-50 all throughout round 2. And you have left the Carlo just gives us the answer, but he has to do it in Pig Latin.
And I must say, thank God, because the answers.
I know some of those first ones were long, huh?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, so starting round 2, Angel, you are contestant number 1. So here's question number 1 of round 2. Angel, the Pope is the vicar of Christ. In common usage, a vicar is A, a military leader such as a general or admiral sent by a king. B, a representative or deputy. Or C, one who literally holds the keys for another. Once again, Angel, the Pope is the vicar of Christ. In common usage, a vicar is A, a military leader such as a general or admiral sent by a king. B, a representative or deputy. Or C, one who literally holds the keys for another.
I think I'm going to have to use a lifeline on this one.
Oh, which one do you want to use?
I'll do the Pig Latin. Why not?
All right, she's throwing
Wow.
Pig Latin.
Okay, well, that's as good because
It's not too long.
Yeah,
the
that's
answer.
right. All right, so you ready, Angel? Here we go. All right. I representative roe epudide. Do I need to repeat? I representative roe epudide.
Carlo has master's degrees. He's getting a PhD, and we make him do the answers in Pig Latin. This is the greatest job in the world. All right, do you want me to read the answers again, or you know which one it was?
I think it was the one with deputy.
Yes, it was.
Good job. Yeah,
Was that me?
epudide.
Yeah, a vicar is a representative or deputy.
Yeah. Comes from the Latin vicarius, which means substitute, and not substitute in the sense to take the place of in entirety, right? But to be a representative of, having that delegated authority. That's why I was kind of hesitant with letter A, the first answer, sent by a king. There's a sort of delegation and representation there. So I was wondering if she was going to get tripped up on that one.
Well, yeah, right. It would just be too narrow because it was a military one.
That's right.
But,
That's right.
But I think in the Church of England, a vicar is a pastor or something too. I think they call the pastor the vicar. Because I've watched some BBC shows. I'm pretty much an expert on the Church of England because I've seen the BBC.
All she watches is the BBC stuff.
Yeah, it's good. All right, here's question 1 from round 2 for you, Anne. Anne, the Pope is referred to as the Supreme Pontiff. A pontiff is A, literally a bridge builder, but the term referred to high priests in ancient Rome. B, a father. The word comes from the Latin term for father. Or C, one who literally holds the keys for another. Once again, the Pope is referred to as the Supreme Pontiff. A pontiff is A, literally a bridge builder, but the term referred to high priests in ancient Rome. B, a father. The word comes from the Latin term for father. Or C, one who literally holds the keys for another.
I will say A.
Oh my gosh, that was really a long answer. You could have made Carlo do it in Pig Latin, Ann.
I could have.
I'm glad she didn't. I'm glad she didn't. I had enough humility already.
Did you know that one, or was there anything in there that gave you a clue, or how'd you come up with that so quickly?
Yes, I knew it.
I've
been to Rome a few times, and I knew about the bridge builder and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Yeah, it comes from Latin pontifex, pont, bridge, facere, to do or to make. So to build or make a bridge, and referring to building the bridges between mankind and the deities, as you mentioned here, the high priests in ancient Rome.
When I gave the rules of the game show at the beginning, I never gave out the rules, what do we do if there's a tie, but I'm going to have to give them out shortly here if it continues like this.
That's right.
All right, your second question of round 2. Angel, your second question of round 2. Donatism is a heresy. that teaches A, the sacraments are only valid if celebrated by a priest free of grave sin? B, Christians can be saved by their own efforts? Or C, the God of the Old Testament is a lesser God than that of the New Testament? Once again, Donatism is a heresy that teaches A, the sacraments are only valid if celebrated by a priest free of grave sin. B, Christians can be saved by their own efforts. Or C, the God of the Old Testament is a lesser God than the God of the New Testament. And now, have you got an answer for us?
Let's do a 50-50.
All right, we'll do the 50-50 when we come back right after this because we got to take a break. It is break time. We're right in the middle of the Catholic Answers game show. Our super secret guest is Carla Broussard. Our contestants are Angel and Ann, and they are, I don't know what the word for it is. They are tigers of this game.
Don't look it up over the break.
Yeah. Oh, Carlo! I didn't even think of that. Angel would never do that.
Here's a question. Is it really possible to be friends with someone who died 2,000 years ago? Maybe the problem is that we've grown way too comfortable with the story of Jesus. Nice man, right? Taught us to love one another, said not to judge people. We celebrate his birthday every year. It's time to put away this small, safe version of Jesus, says Cy Kellett. Nobody that bland could have transformed the world. In A Teacher of Strange Things, Cy presents Jesus Christ undiluted by sentiment, with all his radical words and deeds uncensored. Do you know someone, your son or daughter perhaps, or maybe your mom or dad, who needs the friendship of Jesus Christ? Do you? Order your copy of A Teacher of Strange Things by visiting shop.catholic.com today or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you. Have you enrolled in the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics? Let me ask you a more important question. Do you believe as a Catholic that you have an obligation to share the Catholic faith? In fact, the Church has answered this question, and the answer is that all confirmed Catholics are obliged to share the faith. It's actually in canon law. Catholic Answers is here to help you fulfill that obligation. Our School of Apologetics courses will equip you to help all the people you come in contact with understand what the Church teaches and why. A great place to start is with all the Catholics in your life. Learn the art of apologetics from the best of the best and start sharing the gospel today. Visit schoolofapologetics.com. That's schoolofapologetics.com.
Did you know you can access Catholic Answers Live right from your phone or other mobile device? Download the Catholic Answers Live app today. The Catholic Answers Live app, available now on iOS and Android.
You decide what we talk about.
On our monthly unscripted show.
Tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on most of these EWTN stations.
Now back to Catholic Answers Live.
All right, welcome back, Catholic Answers Live, Catholic Answers Game Show. I'm your game show host, Cy Kellett. Our game show guests is Carla Broussard. Our contestants are Angel and Ann. We left Angel with a question, and she just stepped out to go in the other room where the computer is, and now she's back. Is that right, Angel? Is that what you did?
That would be a smart idea, but no.
No, we know you didn't do that. Okay, so the question, which question was it? The Donatist question, right? Do you want me to read it again, or you wanted a 50-50 on it, right?
A 50-50, yeah.
Yeah, so why don't you take one away, Carlo, and then I'll read the whole question again so that anybody listening will know the question.
All right, so the question, Donatism, or Donatism, however you wish to pronounce it, is a heresy that teaches, this is false, I'm going to take it away, Christians can be saved by their own efforts. I'm taking B out of the mix, so you're left only with A and C.
And okay, so I'll read the question then with just the remaining questions. But I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Donatism is a heresy that teaches A, the sacraments are only valid if celebrated by a priest free of grave sin, or C, the God of the Old Testament is a lesser God than that of the New Testament.
A.
Yeah.
What?
Good job, Angel.
Nice. Was that a guess, or did you have some reason for that?
I was guessing between A and B, so he took out B, so I was good.
Oh, very good. Well, B was Pelagianism.
That's right.
Which is also
Okay.
a heresy. And then C,
Marcionism.
Yeah, that the God of the Old Testament is
Right.
lesser God than the New Testament. That's a heresy.
Donatism was a heresy of the 4th century from Donatus, a bishop of Carthage. There was a special synod in about 313 that dealt with this, excommunicating Donatus. Augustine would deal with it. For example, in his commentary on the Gospel of John, the Catechism teaches in paragraph 1128, the sacrament is not wrought by the righteousness of either the celebrant or the recipient, but by the power of God. He's quoting St. Thomas Aquinas there. From the moment that a sacrament is celebrated in accordance with the intention of the Church, the power of Christ and His Spirit acts in and through it independently of the personal holiness of the minister. Thank God.
I know, because otherwise we would never know if we had received a sacrament or not.
There's a lot of holy men out there, but there's a lot of unholy men out there too.
In here, too.
Yeah, you're right.
Angel, killing it. All right, let's go to the second question for Anne. Anne, this is your second question of round 2 in the Catholic Answers game show. Just be quiet, Carl.
All right, I'm not
Just
saying
be quiet.
anything.
Don't say anything. And dang it. And Pelagianism proposes that A, humans are free from the burden of original sin. B, humans are completely corrupted by original sin. Or C, humans have been harmed by original sin but can be saved by God's grace. Once again, Anne, Pelagianism proposes that A, humans are free from the burden of original sin. B, humans are completely corrupted by original sin. Or C, humans have been harmed by original sin, but can be saved by God's grace.
I'll take the 50-50, please.
Okay, so I'm going to get rid of B. Humans are completely corrupted by original sin, and you're left with A and C.
And those are A is humans are free from the burden of original sin, or C, humans have been harmed by original sin, but can be saved by God's grace.
I will say A.
Yes, good job, Anne. Because C is the Catholic position, right?
I know, yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, we're harmed by original sin, but we can save by God's grace. Pelagianism says, well, original sin didn't taint human nature, and so we can achieve perfection without the aid of divine grace. A great, our own Joe Heschmeyer wrote a great article on Pelagianism entitled Pelagianism, Ode Heresy, Still Attractive at Catholic.com. So if our listeners want to check it out, it's a great read.
They all come back.
Yes, they do.
The heresies, they all come back around and around.
And by the way, it was condemned in 418 at the Council of Carthage.
Okay, your final question, Angel, and you've been perfect so far. Angel, the Easter season concludes with A, the Feast of the Ascension, B, Pentecost Sunday, C, the Feast of Christ the King. Once again, the Easter season concludes with A, the Feast of the Ascension, B, Pentecost Sunday, or C, the Feast of Christ the King.
B.
Good job, Angel.
I think we should have some kind of cheering when a contestant goes all the way through. There should be some kind of yay.
There you go.
Thank you. I don't know why the audience was so quiet at that. I mean, we just had that was a Nadia Comaneci moment when you perfect score. See, Angel and Ann know who Nadia Comaneci is. The guys in the studio are looking at me like, what are you talking about? Nadia Comaneci was a Russian, Romanian gymnast.
Romanian.
Yeah, and she was the first ever to get a perfect 10 in the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what Angel just did. Perfect 10. Woo-hoo. Crowd, let me hear it for her. Come on, crowd. Give it up for it. That's right. All right, quiet down.
Well, here's Ann's chance.
Now we'll see if Ann has her own Nadia Comaneci moment. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Nadia's name correctly. I'm very not good at Romanian. Are you good at Romanian, Angel?
No, but that is how I've always heard it pronounced.
Okay,
so
all right,
I think
good.
you're good.
Yeah, because I thought I heard you kind of shouting in my ear, Romanian, when I said Russian. So
Yes.
Okay, this is your last question, Anne. The Catholic Church celebrates the Sunday after Easter as A, Divine Mercy Sunday, B, the Feast of the Empty Tomb, C, Eastertide. Once again, the Catholic Church celebrates the Sunday after Easter as A, Divine Mercy Sunday, B, the Feast of the Empty Tomb, or C, Eastertide.
A.
You got nothing to say,
Divine
Carlo?
Mercy Sunday.
We got no cheering from the crowd. We just established, literally 1 minute ago, that the standard should be. There's your chair. Congratulations, Nadia. Anne, I mean. You did it, but now I have to describe that's a tie. I don't even remember when we've had a tie with two perfect scores.
It's been a while.
Like we've had ties, but
not with two perfect scores.
Two perfect scores. I know it has happened.
Congratulations!
Congratulations to both of you.
Amen.
That is great. So I think in a case of a tie, we just send you home with no prizes. Isn't that what we do? Because the way most people look at it is you're both winners, but the way we look at it, both losers. So thanks for playing, Angel. Thanks, Anne. Yeah, they don't believe me at all. All right, here's how we do it. And because we got Angel on the line first, she became contestant number 1, and Anne became contestant number 2. So the rule book for the game show, and we actually do have a printed rules for the game show. They state that the contestant number 1 picks box A or B. I have the people on the internet can see right now. I'm holding up boxes A and B. Whatever you pick, Angel, we'll open that up and it will tell us what happens to you and then consequently what happens to Anne. What do you want, Angel? A or B?
B.
B. Oh, she went with B. Let's see what it says.
Well, B was a common answer.
I was going to say, yeah. Oh, it says, Angel, you go on to your final judgment.
Woohoo! Oh, yay.
Congratulations,
Good
Angel.
choice.
Anne, I hate to send you away after a perfect score, but I'll tell you we have some gifts for you. We're going to send you all three. We're going to send you all 3 of Carlo's books, and let me see if I can remember the names of every one of them. The first one is Prepare the Way, Overcoming Obstacles to God, the Gospel, and the Church. The second one is Meeting the Protestant Challenge, 50 biblical.
How to answer 50 biblical objections to Catholic beliefs.
That wasn't. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You interrupted me. And then finally, Purgatory is for Real. Good news about the afterlife for those who aren't perfect yet. We'll also throw in a copy of my book, Teacher of Strange Things: Who Jesus Was, What He Taught, and Why People Still Follow Him. And you are a good sport and a great friend. Thanks for playing.
It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, you were great. I mean, really, that was really
That was
impressive. Awesome. All right, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back, and Angel will face her final judgment. Angel, you feel ready to face your final judgment?
I guess.
You better be better prepared than that when the real one comes around, Angel. Right back with
True.
Catholic Answers Game Show right after this.
There's only one Catholic Answers Live.
We have a big problem. Our culture is dying, and souls are in danger of being lost. The answer is conversion to Jesus Christ in His church. St. Paul Street Evangelization is a Catholic organization, and we have hundreds of teams spreading the good news throughout the country. But we need your help. The harvest is great, but the laborers are few. Find out more and get involved today at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
The EWTN home video highlight for March is Christendom. Journey back to a time when Christianity formed every aspect of people's lives. Known as the Age of Christendom, this glorious era produced great achievements in art, music, agriculture, medicine, and science. Order your DVD at EWTNRC.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.
Welcome back, Catholic Answers Game Show. What happened right there? Carlo was dancing to the
moves,
music,
boy?
and I forgot
Come
to dance
on,
to the
man.
music. Carlo, nice moves.
Play that funky music,
Play that funky music, my lady. No, I guess we're done. Okay. No, we're done. Angel in Kentucky is our. are both skilled and lucky winner of the first two rounds because she's skilled because she got all the answers right, and she's lucky because she won the draw of picking box B, which had to go on to your final judgment. Learned all kinds of interesting things about Angel at the break. Am I allowed to say any of those on the air, or is it all top secret stuff?
Sure. No, that's fine.
Because I said to Angel, what do you do there in Kentucky? And she's the mom of 6, some of whom she homeschools. So and the oldest one is 19.
Awesome.
And I bet there's no attitude in that house.
Yeah. 4 of them are teenagers. I got plenty of attitude.
4 teenagers at one
man.
time. God bless you.
We only got 2 teenagers in the house, not 4.
And I got
4,
none left.
That's a lot, man.
Angel, it's time for your final judgment. The way final judgment works, and I hope that you win it. I hope you go just run the table and get them all right, and then we'll have at least one book in your hands for every one of your 6 children, and probably one book left over for you. Final judgment is 7 true or false questions. Before each question, I will name the book that you're playing for. And if you get the question right, you get that book. You could get 7 books that way. But if you get all 7 right, you also get a free course at the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics for you or a loved one, anyone that you would like to have that. I think it will keep the 19-year-old occupied myself, but you do what you want with it. All right, there's no lifelines in this round. It's final judgment. Now we will judge you. You ready to be judged?
Yes.
Angel, true or false? Scripture records that each of the 12 apostles asks Jesus at least one question. Angel, true or false? Scripture records that each of the 12 apostles asks Jesus at least one question.
False.
What? I swear I thought I had you on that one. I thought I had you on that one. What? How? How did you know that?
Well, I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure that a couple of them never really talk.
Good
6
job.
of them never talk. Good for you.
I actually didn't know that, Si. You taught me something here about only 6.
I didn't know that either. And this is a new thing that I've decided to do on the game show. Something that came up earlier in the week, I'm going to throw it in the game show.
There you go.
And this came up when we had Rod Bennett on, and he was talking about his book, These 12, The Gospel Through the Apostles' Eyes, which, by the way, amazing book, Angel, and you just won it. Congratulations.
Oh, great.
You're going to love that one. You really are. Okay, so question number 2, you'll play for Joe Heschmeyer's The Early Church Was the Catholic Church. True or false, Angel? The Mass is the highest form of prayer. True or false? The Mass is the highest form of prayer.
True.
Yeah,
that wasn't a hard one
That
for
was
her.
a soft
I mean,
call, man.
that's kind of one you throw in there in case you got a really bad winner. But
yeah, that, of course, is based on Lumen Gentium, Section 11 from the Second Vatican Council. The Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life. And the Catechism has a great line in paragraph 1330. It states this: the Church's whole liturgy finds its center and most intense expression in the celebration of this sacrament, namely the Eucharist.
Congratulations, you're 2 for 2 in your final judgment. Now you're playing for Purgatory is for Real, Good News About the Afterlife for Those Who Aren't Perfect Yet, by guess who?
Carlo.
Nice. That's not the question, though.
All right. I'm glad you wouldn't ask me that question because I'm horrible with authors. Like, I read a book and I'm like, I don't know who wrote it.
Really? Yeah. That is the last thing I would have thought about you.
No,
of all people.
Yeah, when I read a book, I get so lost in the book sometimes I forget, the author of the book.
All right, true or false? Charity is the highest of all the virtues. True or false, Angel? Charity is the highest of all the virtues.
True.
Yes. That's a good one. And for our listeners out there, and also Angel, if you're interested in reading, St. Thomas Aquinas gives the reasons why charity is the highest, which we don't have time to go into here, in his Summa Theologiae, the Secunda Secundae, that is the second part of the second part, question 23, Article 6. For all you Thomistic fans out there, if you want to look at the reasons why Aquinas says charity is the highest of all the virtues, check it out. It's great stuff there. I wish we had time to geek out on it, but Aquinas does a great job of giving the argument for it.
And that's amazing. That's the first time Carlo has mentioned his love for Thomas Aquinas. Wait a second.
On this show.
No,
Today.
You're always talking. Yeah, on this show, right. Okay, nicely done. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a choice on the next book that you're playing for. You can play for Steve Weidenkopf's book, Light from Darkness, or you can play for a book called A Teacher of Strange Things. Which one do you want to play for?
I'll play for a Teacher of Strange Things.
Oh, I'm going to cry. Oh, bless your heart. Everyone always chooses the other book. It's my first chance to give my book
No,
away.
I've been wanting to read it.
I don't know if you mean it, but you say all the right things, Angel. All right, true or false?
She's just saving herself from not having already read it.
Wait,
she's
what?
trying to earn brownie points.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because she hasn't read it
She
yet.
didn't buy it. She didn't read it. She's
Yeah.
like, I've always wanted to read that book. Okay, true or false? We offer Mary latria. True or false? We offer Mary latria.
I can't remember if that's the one that... I'm going to say true, but that might be wrong.
Oh,
yeah, it's the other one. I couldn't remember the Latin word.
Yeah, latria is Latin for the adoration reserved for God alone.
Okay, yeah.
And coming
Wrong
from
one.
the Greek latreia. In Galatians 5:20, idololatria is the worship of idols, right? So latreia is worship of God, and douleia in Greek, or doulia in Latin, is what is reserved for the saints. And of course, for Mary, it's hyper-doulia, sort of the highest honor that we can give to a creature.
I literally don't care that you got that question wrong. I'm giving you my book anyways because I feel like my book is cursed. It's bad luck for people. So that's going on the going on the
it
win
does
pile.
have the title Strange Things.
Yes, that's true. Those are sacraments, by the way. All right, now you're playing for a lovely book that you rejected just a moment ago. It's called Light from Darkness. 9 times. This is a good book, too. Light from Darkness. 9 times the Catholic Church was in turmoil and came out stronger than before. That's by our good friend Steve Weidenkopf. Great historian. True or false? Jesus died on the cross because there was no other way God could save humanity. True or false, Angel? Jesus died on the cross because there was no other way God could save humanity.
False.
Yes.
What?
Good job.
What are you two talking about?
Not absolutely necessary, right? God could have done otherwise. But on supposition that God wills for Jesus to die on the cross, of course, he can't change his will. St. Thomas Aquinas, to refer to Aquinas again, deals with this question in the third part of his Summa Theologiae, question 46, articles 1 and 2. It is a must-read, as to why we as Catholics do not think there was an absolute necessity for Jesus to die on the cross. God could have done otherwise. And Aquinas explains some very important details as to why that is so, because God could have remitted the debt for the sin of the human race without doing an injustice to anyone, even to himself. He could have just remitted it. But he chose to send his son for a variety of reasons, which Aquinas deals with as well.
The primary of those reasons, to sum them up, you would say he did that because he loves us. And that's
to manifest his love. Yeah, to manifest the ugliness of sin and the rejection of God, which the human race fell into, and which we individually often fall into, and then also to manifest, most importantly, the love that God has for us.
All right, we're on to question number 6 in your final judgment. This one is, we are playing for Father Sebastian Walsh's beautiful book, Secrets from Heaven, Hidden Treasures of Faith in the Parables and Conversations of Jesus. Father Walsh really brings tremendous insight to some things that we read them and we maybe even elide them a little, just pass over them, and they're very profound things that Jesus said. Secrets from Heaven, you will win if you get this one right. True or false? The Church accepts and venerates as inspired the 46 books of the Old Testament and the 27 books of the New. Once again, Angel, True or false? The church accepts and venerates as inspired the 46 books of the Old Testament and the 27 books of the New.
True.
Yes, ma'am. Good job.
Wow.
Yeah, I would highly recommend. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe this is a book that you might be able to throw in. I don't know. But Gary Machuda's book, right? Why Catholic Bibles Are Bigger? When we're talking about the canon.
That's coming up next then.
There you go.
I don't have a copy right here with me, but I'll find one.
Yeah. Because that's a great resource. Machuda does a great job explaining the historicity and the historical evidence for the Catholic understanding of the Old Testament, of course, which would be different from the Old Testament canon of our Protestant brothers and sisters.
Also, that sentence exactly word for word, the way I read it, is paragraph 138 of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. So nice job. All right, you're playing now for Gary Machuda's book, Why Catholic Bibles Are Bigger, True or False, Angel? The Pope is the highest legislator in the church. Once again, true or false, the Pope is the highest legislator in the church.
False.
Oh, why did you say that, Angel? What was your thinking there?
I didn't think legislator made, I don't know, sense.
Yeah, because he seems like an executive, like the president.
Yeah, so that's
more than a lawmaker.
That's what was your stumbling block.
But that's the church is old-fashioned. The lawmaker and the executive are the same person.
Yeah, the Canon 1404 in the Code of Canon Law, the first see is judged by none. And of course, this has, at various points in the history of the church, it has its roots, its foundation. And there's a great article online by Eric Ybarra, The First See is Judged by No One. And he documents where this idea is found within the tradition, within the history of Christianity concerning the Bishop of Rome.
That was an amazing run. You did an amazing job. I'm going to tell you right now what you have won. You won the book, These 12, the brand new book, These 12, The Gospel Through the Apostles' Eyes by the really formidable and wonderful writer, Rod Bennett. You won The Early Church Was the Catholic Church, the book from Joe Heschmeyer. You won Carlo's book, Purgatory is for Real, Good News About the Afterlife for Those Who Aren't Perfect Yet. You won my book, Teacher of Strange Things, Who Jesus Was, What He Taught, and Why People Still Follow Him. You won Light from Darkness from Steve Weidenkopf. 9 times the Catholic Church was in turmoil and came out stronger than before. And finally, you won Father Sebastian Walsh's beautiful book on Jesus, Secrets from Heaven, Hidden Treasures of Faith in the Parables and Conversations of Jesus. Angel, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It was fun, Angel.
You are a great contestant and also just fun to talk to. I hope that you had a good time.
I did. Thank you very much.
Now you got to go see what kind of damage the kids did while you were doing this.
Probably.
Well, Angel, thanks very much. Look for it in the mail. All those books are coming to you. What a great, great contestant. Carlo, you did a pretty good job, too.
Well, thank you, Cy. I agree that you did an even better job.
Wow, and I would say that even a better job was done by you.
Why, thank you, sir.
And and Mr. Heckle, yes, Mr. Jekyll. Darren, I thought you did a really good job all week.
Yeah,
all
pressing
week,
those buttons, man.
Just
turning those knobs.
A really fine week of radio. Really fine week of radio. And hey, it was Siobhan in there keeping score for us. Thanks,
That's right.
Siobhan, because Edgar had to leave. So Siobhan, executive assistant to the executive, or what's Siobhan's title? The chief executive of to the president. Oh, she's executive assistant to the president.
There you go.
And then I would say, good job, Thomas, running the cameras, but I don't know if Thomas is awake. Is he? All right, Thomas, good job. Set it and forget it. That's the best kind of technology. Thank you, Thomas. Hey, again, thank you to both of our guests, both of our contestants, and Angel and our old friend, Angel, our new friend. They were wonderful contestants. Thank you to Carlo Broussard.
You're welcome, Cy.
The author of a whole bunch of things, including
Thank
that
you
book
for
we
having
just
me.
gave away. Well, we can't get rid of you, Carlo. I mean, not that we're trying to get rid of you. It's just we can't find anybody better. Purgatory is for Real, Good News About the Afterlife for Those Who Aren't Perfect Yet. That's Carlo's newest book. You can find his other books at shop.catholic.com. And if you want him to come out and speak where you are, please go to catholicspeakers.com and have him come. He's a lot of fun, powerful speaker, and you will not be sorry that you had them. CatholicSpeakers.com. That does it for us. We'll see you next time, God willing, right here on Catholic Answers Live.